So, we were wondering, how has the portrayal of the use of cannabis in British news media changed over time? And more specifically, how has it changed between 1990 and 2015? Let's take a step back. Marijuana, weed, pot, and hash are all words to describe the same thing: cannabis. Cannabis is a plant which is widely known as the source of one of the most used recreational drugs around the world. It is generally consumed by smoking the dried buds of the plant, which brings the user into a relaxed yet euphoric state of mind. Over the course of the last few decades, cannabis has increasingly become more mainstream and currently takes the rank as fourth most used recreational drug, behind alcohol, caffeine, and tobacco. Over the past few years, news coverage on drugs has increased rapidly. Perceptions and stances towards the use of cannabis differ greatly and are in constant flux. To find out more about the development of these stances, we decided to do research into how the portrayal of cannabis in British media has changed between 1990 and 2015. In order to properly assess the possible changes in portrayal, we read and compared a total of 90 articles, published by 4 of the major news outlets of the UK. By distinguishing the most dominant argument brought forward in each individual article, we could gain a quick, organized insight into the developments in portrayal over the period of 25 years. After selecting, reading, and assessing all articles, double-checking each assessment and discussing and solving issues, several clear main arguments could be recognized in the results. These arguments are the following: cannabis is linked to crime, cannabis as a health risk, decriminalization or legalization as a positive, decriminalization or legalization as a negative, law enforcement or legal action in support of cannabis, law enforcement or legal action against cannabis, and the medicinal use of cannabis. In these categories, certain striking developments could be distinguished. For example, in 1990 there was a significant majority, at 27% of all articles, on how cannabis would be intrinsically linked to crime, while this number decreased to only 2% in 2015. Other categories actually changed the other way around. When looking at the articles arguing that decriminalizing and legalizing cannabis would be a positive development, this percentage rises from a small 11% in 1990 to more than 44% in 2015. Another striking change is a significant increase in news coverage on the medicinal use of cannabis. The percentage of publications on the medicinal use of cannabis actually was 5 times as high in 2015 compared to 1990. So, how can these changes be explained? When looking at the chosen time frame, 1990 to 2015, it can be noted that, due to the liberalization of the mind of the general British public, cannabis is increasingly accepted and perceived as a normal recreational drug, and is hardly different from alcohol or tobacco in that sense. This change or frame of mind explains all changes observed in the research. The modern focus on legalization and medicinal use, as well as the previous focus on crime and health risks, all fit into this description of the development of the portrayal of cannabis. The portrayal of cannabis in British media has gone through major changes between the years 1990 and 2015. A more liberal, accepting stance towards the retail and use of cannabis seems to have arisen from a largely negative mindset on the drug in 1990. With the fading of this mindset, major media outlets in the United Kingdom seem to have lost its incentive to publish articles highlighting crime, health risks, and legal action, and have started to enlighten the public on topics such as legalization and medicinal uses of cannabis. Therefore, we can conclude that the British news media have gone through a major shift, moving away from a more conservative, contra-cannabis past to a more liberal, accepting present.